Welcome to the Power of Healing Your Energy show. I'm Christine. I'm a spiritual medium, intuitive energy coach, old soul healer, and soul purpose mentor. This is a live show and podcast all about unconditional love, your light, your intuition, and your soul's purpose. Season 3, episode. All right, looks like we have a technical glitch, but here we are. Welcome to the show, guys. This is season 3, episode 95, and today is a special day, obviously. And we're going to talk about the modern witch. And my guest, I was on her show, oh gosh, probably a couple weeks ago. Amazing conversation. Fen, she is, obsessed with discussing the magical and mystical with anyone and everyone, including myself. And I love that she even talks about how she's apprenticed with gurus and been mentored by shamans and worked with dozens of healers, sages, mystics, all of that. And she also hosts a magical podcast called Follow the Woo. And, I'm all about the woo. Right. And each episode, you must go and listen because they are definitely very interesting, expansion, mind opening, and she follows her intuition. She has some amazing topics and questions regarding witchcraft, meditation, paranormal, supernatural, alien, and fae encounters. So really it's all about the woo, and through the stories, investigations, and interviews, she really, and I'm a testament to this. I mean, she asked the most amazing questions, and it's really a flowing, caring environment. There's no right or wrong, and the whole reason I wanted to talk about modern witch was there seems to be, a negative connotation with it. Now, maybe you're saying, no, that's not true, Christine. That's not what I believe. But, the definition, when I went and looked online, says otherwise. And growing up, I was told otherwise. And some of my friends and family were told otherwise, that it was dark, that it was evil, that you're working with the devil and all of that. I mean, it's garbage. It really is, because we know way more than that. At least I'd like to think the people that listen to my show or watch my show, you guys are spiritually aware and awake. But you're not saying you're all grandiose in that, but you're willing to have a conversation and be open to what's around us. All right, enough about me. I'm going to bring in Fen. And hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing well. And yes, we had a bit of a glitch where you would have had a beautiful intro.
That's all right.
Expectations, right? What did they say about those?
We're going to blame it on Mark Zuckerberg.
There you go. Thank you. That feels good. Yes. So really, where I like to always ask where my guests are in the world, because I'm in British Columbia, Canada. Where are you?
Los Angeles.
Yay.
Yes.
Isn't that the city of angels? Is that what they say?
It doesn't feel like it lately, but yes, I think that is accurate. Yeah. Pandemic slash I guess we can't call it post-pandemic yet, but pandemic Los Angeles is not very angelic feeling. I'll say that.
Yeah, depending on where you are in the world. And hey, guys, if you're here, or even if you're on the replay, please say hello. Ask any questions you might have for Fen, because she definitely knows a lot more about witches, Wiccan. She is an empath as well. And dare I say, queer? Is that, am I being correct in that as well? Okay.
Yes.
So is there like a certain community that you support?
As far as the witchcraft or the queer, or which one?
All of it. Like, do you meld it all together, or do you have separate, groups that you work with, or how does that work for you?
Well, I used to be in an order, which, if your listeners don't know, an order is just a larger group of witches and magical practitioners that come together and do magic,
Okay.
and other things, like they just
Hmm.
eat and laugh and, that kind of stuff as well. But I haven't worked with them in a while, so mostly just because I moved. So I would say now, as far as the witchcraft goes, I'm pretty solitary. I'm a solitary practitioner at the moment. But and also because of the pandemic, you just
Yes.
can't get together in big groups. So that I forgot that's a huge glaring issue for all the covens and the orders out there. So generally, I'm, as you know, because you were on my show, I am an extroverted empath. So I prefer generally being around groups of people. So I love practicing magic with people more than the solitary work.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is, but maybe it's different for you. Why is that? Why is it better in a group than on your own?
Ooh, well, let me give you the short version. I'll try. Um, well, first of all, one practitioner has their will and their intention and their incantations. And when you multiply that, that's just going to give you more energy and more potentiality for whatever working you're doing, spell work or whatever, to come to fruition. Um, Obviously, it depends on the type of people that you have in the group. Sometimes you can have a weak link or somebody who has really a negative vibration and it can kind of bring that down. But you're still overall going to have a much more powerful working with a group than on your own.
Yeah. So there's magic in numbers, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And 3 is a huge number for magical workings. That's a huge part of witchcraft, the maiden, the mother, the crone, the triple goddess. That trine, that trifecta is
Trifecta.
yeah, it's really really helpful for doing magic work as well.
Mm. Yeah, and then I love the whole idea of coming together. It reminds me of how would it be any different than doing like prayer, group meditation, Reiki share? I mean, obviously it is different. There's different pieces to it, but the whole idea is the intention to be together in a group to raise, to make it of a higher uh, value or consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. And we often do, and this is the thing that people, a lot of I'll say, just like the general public gets confused about witches, is a lot of what we do is meditation and Reiki and energy work, and that's part of our spell. I mean, like the beginning of a ritual, let's say for witchcraft, is going to be all the logistics. Like we're going to make sure we're safe. We're going to make sure that we've all connected our energy. We're going to raise a cone and make sure we're in a safe space. And then after that, we're going to do the working, and the working can be all that stuff. Reiki, it can be meditation, it can be chanting, it can be prayer, it can be divination. I mean, really, astrology, the
Mm.
list goes on and on and on. You can get as creative as you want, which is something that I love about witchcraft. How creative it is.
It is, and, the whole reason for modern witch, I mean, we talked about that. So, what was your understanding of witches growing up?
Well, it depends on who you ask. My mom was very aware and part of the new age movement in the 80s and 90s. So I had a really lovely sort of, how will I say, like, she taught me to be very open-minded about all of the different practices, all the different religions and mysticisms. And so I thought witches were kick-ass from day one, because I was like, oh, they're not bad. And if you ask my very Baptist, uh, Christian part of the family, they would say that, in fact, most of them don't even know I'm a witch. They would, oh my God, I don't know what they would do. they would just be like, blasphemy, it's evil. And it's like, oh, it's so far away from evil. And there's a huge issue with how we view witches, and it has a lot to do with what happened in Salem and other issues that had mostly to do with women being powerful in groups that men felt insecure
Threatened.
about.
Oh,
threatened by.
absolutely. It was ego, it was religion, it was politics.
Yeah, and it's so powerful that it's lasted hundreds and hundreds of years. And now what, like you said earlier, the Webster dictionary definition of a witch, like the first one that pops up, I think still has the word evil in it.
Yes, it does.
Which is outrageous.
I agree. It is outrageous. It's it really pulls on people's, even Wikipedia. And it's funny, they say especially a woman who is credited with having malignant supernatural powers. A practitioner of witchcraft, especially in adherence with neo-pagan tradition or religion, and such as Wicca. A mean or ugly old woman. That's really nice.
Oh, how lovely.
A hag crone. Yes. As growing up as kids, I remember that. A charming or alluring girl. So when they say that, oh, she's pretty and she's magical, she must be a witch, or she puts you into a spell.
Yes.
And I did things I didn't want to do. It's like, wow, talk about passing the buck.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what I wish that part of my family and so many people in this country and world would sort of pivot on is just, why don't we think about the people who burned actual humans in droves at stakes in front of large crowds? Were they evil, or were the people on the being burnt on the stake evil? Like, that's the big question mark. And I think we have to start asking these questions. And I think that's happening in the past few years since Trump was our president. We've started to see in this country specifically, because we're so young, maybe what we were taught in our history books isn't so accurate. So I'll just put that out there.
No,
and I'm just speaking from like the USA perspective. I know it's different in Canada to some extent.
You know what, my dear, it is not different anywhere.
It is not.
The world.
I stand corrected.
The whole system is broken.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who is coming in, it's broken.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I hear people say, oh, this person coming in is going to save everybody and it's going to change everything. No, it won't, because it starts with us. We are the change. That's how everything else is going to change, when it's a ripple effect and it demands to be seen, heard, the truth, everything. I just watched a documentary called, it was about British Columbia and the untold story of how colonialism started here, how it happened. And just, when you're talking about burning people, well, they pretty much pushed people out, and then they flooded the land so they could have hydroelectric power. And then they told them that they could come back, the indigenous. They came back to their home flooded. Anyways, that's a whole nother segment.
We opened a can. Yeah,
we did. And I just sat there and I just felt disgusting. I felt so sad, so hurt. Anyways, so we're really unraveling all of this, all of the lies.
Yeah.
Watching someone burn, I don't know how you can do that. How do you atone for that?
That's a question that I just don't have the answer. I mean, who does, right? It's rhetorical, but it's I encourage people to think about that when they immediately come at me with like, aren't you evil? And you should be burned at the stake, or this kind of old rhetoric. I just think, well, put yourself in the position of the witch. What we're lacking in this country, this world, like you said, the whole system is broken, is empathy more than anything else. We are, and you and I know that too. We're both empaths. So we're like on the other end of the spectrum. We're like, so it makes it very difficult to operate on the planet at this time, because most people are lacking empathy, and it's really sad. And it's sad for all religions. It's sad for every group on this planet and every individual on this planet. It affects the whole ecosystem.
It does. We have to unravel everything we've done, and we really need to work with the earth as well. So, just saying hi to Patty. Hi, Patty, and
Hi,
yeah,
Patty.
she's also saying people are such stereotypes. Yeah, she's
Truth.
talking about stereotypes. Yeah, there's a lot of
Mm.
that because I think there's a comfort in when you put a label on something. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, or it's like putting it in a box and then tucking it neatly away. At least I know what it is. But is it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think something that people don't understand, again, about witchcraft and almost every spiritual practice, is that we have to be brave enough to do the shadow work and see sort of those like dark corners and stop just settling for stereotypes. Really, we perpetuate stereotypes, and we label people and put people in boxes right away because we haven't done our own work. We haven't had the bravery. Let's just be real about it. We haven't had the bravery to go inside and dig up the stuff that really scares us. And so we just put it out on everybody else. They're wrong. They suck. Fuck her. Whatever. Fuck them. And instead of doing the inner work that we need to do.
No, well, yeah, it's easier to that. I think that comes into the perfectionism. I'm a former perfectionist, but then as Alan Cohen says, the imperfection is the perfection, meaning there is no imperfection and there is no it's like the yin and the yang. But it's also going back to people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at someone else, then you don't have to look at your own stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, now the new moon is tomorrow. I thought I'd bring this up. So, is there certain practices that do you work with the moon energy? Because I can't assume that everybody does.
Yeah, it's fairly common, I would say. I don't know if I were to guess, like 99% of witches follow the phases of the moon. That's an intrinsic part of witchcraft, is to follow the natural cycles of the planet and the universe as much as possible. And the moon is just a really big part of that. So following the new moons are about the like starting, and then full moons are about ending. They're also called spots in our practice, which is, there's 12, obviously there's 12 or 13 every year. And that's usually a time when witches get together or pagans and whatever, and do some kind of celebration or some kind of maybe small working.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be like myself. I mean, I usually host one or two events a month for the new moon and full moon. And it's just really a way I see it. Even if you don't want to work with the moon energy, it's a way to hit the reset button every 2 weeks
Absolutely.
and to refresh yourself, to realign and look at things and clean things up. Maybe, oh, I'll have a bath. Because if I didn't follow this, I wouldn't normally self-care. I see it as self-care practice too. So
Definitely. Also, another huge part of witchcraft. Witchcraft is about knowing yourself. It's about being brave enough to go within and investigate yourself. And it's also about slowing down to meet those natural cycles of this earth. And that's self-care. That slowing down is self-care. That's sort of like that investigation sometimes when you're taking a bath is self-care. Just sort of sitting there and listening to your breath, or self-care could be a million different things.
yeah, depending on what you like, I just say put it in your tool belt and go with it. Go have fun. I love the bath. I mean, for me, it's sacred. It's candles and herbs and essential oils and music. And I will go under the water, for as long as I can, because I just
Mm-hmm.
love the water. So for me, that's, connection. I get it. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder, because it's interesting. Some of my circles, some are saying I'm no longer tied to the moon because it has a dark energy to it, and I'm anchored in Christ consciousness. I'm like, okay, I'm anchored in Christ consciousness. I believe in God, but I also work with the moon. So how is that wrong? Do you see
Mm.
how some people can get?
Yeah.
Even for me, I caught myself. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a big issue right now with the love and light community. And be careful with my words here because I love and light. Don't get me
Yes, of
wrong.
course.
I love and light. I'm into Christ consciousness. You can totally work with Christ, that pantheon, while you're doing workings in witchcraft. You can use whatever pantheon you choose, which is wonderful. There's that choice there. But I have a problem with love and light when it eradicates the darkness in the process. And I'm just talking about like the natural dark cycles of this planet, like the moon, like, oh, I don't know, when the sun goes down and it is dark outside, that doesn't just mean the whole planet turns evil. I think we really have to kind of question, is that you staying in a high vibration? Or is that you, again, hiding from some stuff maybe you are afraid to investigate? And it's okay to be afraid, but it's not okay to take that and then push it onto everybody else and say that only love and light and that's it is the only way. And that's what I struggle with. And
It's spiritual bypassing, it's sidestepping, it's practicing detachment.
yep, I love the term spiritual bypassing.
Mm,
It's a great term. And yeah, you mentioned detachment before. It's not the Buddhist non-attachment, it's the detachment, which is close to disassociation. You're sort of like ignoring or hiding from something that is uncomfortable for you.
yep, not gonna go there. My mom would say that. I'm not gonna go there and have a conversation with her, bless her heart. But anyways, Patty is just saying, when I told people that I was studying shamanism, they asked when I changed her religion. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a tough
How did
one,
how did
Patty.
religion get tied to shamanism or
Mm.
any of it? How did that happen?
Gosh, I just feel like I've studied again, and this is, people often ask me, why are you a witch? Why did you choose witchcraft? And my answer is always because it's so open-minded and I have so many choices. I can do, for instance, I've worked with Ecuadorian, Ecuadorian shamans, and I can do their workings that I learned from them, from studying with them, in my ritual if I want to. I've studied in India and Nepal with Buddhist meditators, and I can take that Buddhist meditation and I can put that in my working if I want to. I just think we've kind of got to stop saying, oh, I figured it out, and that means you also have to be this way as well. This is the only way.
Yep.
I think it's like, if you want to be a Christian and also study shamanism and practice Buddhist meditation, go for it. As long as it makes you feel steady and balanced and you're not like feeling pulled every which way. I think that could be problematic, but you know what I mean.
I do. I beautifully said. I love it. There is no right or there is no wrong, because when you start leaning one way or the other, you've come out of your center.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Patty's just talking about moonology, and I believe that's a card deck as well, is it not?
I
I
think it
believe
is.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Moonology.
Miss Marcia is in California. She's saying hello. This is super interesting. My grandmother used lots of herbs and things for healing, but never spoke about what she used or nor where she got them. That would be my auntie and my grandma as well. Born in the late 1800s, those things were not discussed. Super sad we don't have that knowledge today. I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I was in India, I learned a lot about oral traditions. And part of the reason that oral traditions are so popular is because if it was written down and they were caught with that stuff written down, they would possibly be burned at a stake or something else very terrible that I don't want to think about. So I can't even imagine how much amazing material we have that we've lost, like Christina's grandmother, because of that. It's just there's no record of it.
It's in the Akashic records.
Yes, and we can go
I mean, it's
diving.
not on paper, but yeah, you know what I mean. I think
Yeah.
of I think of Atlantis and I think of Anunnaki as well. I mean, it's all in those tablets too. I mean, there's so much knowledge out there. It just doesn't seem to be enough time.
I know. I always say I wish I could do what Neo does in the Matrix, where he just sort of like absorbs everything all at once. I would love that.
That would be great. That would be
That'd
great.
be so cool.
That would be. And Patty was just saying that, going back to the moon, that we let go of what no longer serves you and setting intentions. Absolutely. And saying hello to Richard James. He's saying, hello there. Hope you're well today. And he is a first-time listener in the UK.
Hello, Richard.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I know you guys are 7-8 hours ahead, so it's a late night for you. If you're a night owl, it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, and it is a shame that all of that knowledge is lost, but I think it's really important that we have podcasts and we have video and we're sharing stories as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge reason why I have a podcast and I follow the woo, as it were, because I want to have I want to have a record of these stories and these lessons, this wisdom that people have to offer. And I want to collect that. I was told once by a very wise woman that your job is to tell the story. My job, not everybody's job is, but some people, I'm a storyteller. My job is to find the story and tell it or allow space for someone else to tell it. And I think it's how podcasts are this like modern magic, right? It's this new way of making sure we have record of the wisdom.
So what would you say to someone that's curious about learning more about being, witchcraft, Wicca, Wiccan, whatever it is? Do you have any tips, I guess, for someone that's starting out that wants to learn?
I would say read as much as you can and reach out to anybody if you know somebody who practices. Or maybe you've heard through a friend of a friend, try to get in contact with that person. And if you feel comfortable with them, ask them questions, because there's a lot in the beginning that you kind of just need to figure out the different styles, what works for you, what, the basic moon phases, the wheel of the year, that kind of stuff. You kind of want to get a good foundation. You also want to make sure you're protecting yourself too.
So yeah, that's important.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to get into like will work, which is where you really are using the power that you have as a human being with intention and energy. You're essentially doing magic, right? You don't want to do that stuff without having some really good protection. You never know. I mean, there's all kinds of entities on this planet and in other realms that could come into your space. And you want to be really careful about that, especially in the beginning, especially if you're very sensitive.
Yeah.
Energies from the other side are going to be like, woo, that's fun. and then what are you going to do?
I would agree. Yeah. I think I was so, I had all my steps that I would follow. And now I might use some of them, but for me, it's like a quick, I'm tuned in because I've done it so many times. But yeah, when you first start out, you definitely have to protect yourself. You have to be cleared and cleansed. That's important too. Your spaces, yourself, your divination, your tools, whatever you happen to be using, is important as well. Yeah, I wanted to know a little bit more because I've seen, I think it was on Instagram, dare I say, it seems to be very prevalent there in regards to seeing white witch and dark witch. Have you seen what's with that?
Yeah, that's That's a tough one. So it depends on who you ask, and it can get very complex in this world. But essentially, it's either like, are you doing black magic, or
Mm.
are you doing, white magic, or just regular magic? White magic is also just like the regular magic that you will learn in a magic class or in a magic store or in a coven or something like that. It can mean different things. It can also just mean that you do darker workings, not necessarily black magic. So I want to make sure that's clear. But unless you are actively pursuing it, black magic, which is working with stuff that I just don't mess with at all, like hurting other people, actively attempting to hurt other people through your will, through magic. That's, maybe some would call that a dark witch. There are certain people in Thelema, that kind of magic that can be considered that. Not all of them are, but some of the Thelemic magic can be a little darker in nature. So it's will work, I mean, you're putting your will and intention and energy together, and we're so powerful. If you don't abide by those sacred rules, which the central read of the witch is harm ye none, do what you will, don't harm anyone. So if you're going to that black magic, that's not the intrinsic qualities of being a witch, contrary to popular belief.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
So
I think of like Star Wars, like going to the dark side. But then, I have this little voice that says, but dark can also be shadow. So can you be a shadow witch? And I'm like, where is this coming from? Who's asking this question?
You can be a shadow witch. Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's what I was meaning by, maybe just doing some of the darker work. Maybe you like to only work on the under the moon. Maybe you like to dress very dark and work with darker elements. And maybe your path this lifetime is very shadow work centric.
Yes.
Maybe that's part of your karma. And so that's not black magic. That's not evil. That's just a sort of different brand of witchcraft. But I will tell you, just to double make sure people listening understand that, like, in the order that I was in, it wasn't even like that wasn't even a topic, black magic. I mean, it was like, no, we do not sell products that are black magic. We do not create, we just don't practice that at all. It's not even, it's like you have to really mind. It's kind of like in Harry Potter. You have to go all the way to the restricted section and get some weird fucking book. And then it's not really a thing that's got a lot of power behind it.
Okay. Oh, that's
generally
good.
In this community. Now, let me just say, I can't say for sure that there aren't like weird occult groups underground doing stuff like that, but that's not the general witchcraft that
the stuff that they like to portray in the movies, which is just garbage. But anyways,
that's like the 1% of witches, maybe. I don't
know. But that's what people focus on. They get scared. They're like, oh, anyways. Patty is asking a question for you. Have you met Bill and the Crystal Skull?
I have not. They sound cool. Who is they?
Yeah. Richard is just saying that's a very good question. When I was talking about white, dark and light, Patty is just talking about, that we're all some sort of witches, just like we're all some sort of healers, because we all manifest and set intentions and do spells at full moons and new moons and, whatever happens to be whenever you feel like it. And Richard is just asking or saying, I know some witches and they always wear black. Why is that? Is that just their personality preference? My cousin wears black a lot and she loves fairies and witchcraft. That's her thing. But she's a beautiful light. She's a beautiful light.
I actually don't know why witches generally wear black. That is a good question. I'm sure I have been taught that, but there's so much information that you're taught that it's impossible to retain it all. I'm not super into wearing the black, and I know that for rituals we generally do. But I don't know. That's a good question. Now I want to Google it.
I already did, but apparently it's a color that covers and protects them from negative influences. And I mean, that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah.
It does. Okay. So
It's almost like in Buddhism and like Vipassana Buddhist meditation, there's this concept where you it's almost, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like you're getting rid of the negativity with a hit of negativity with its own
kind of
not
like a mirror,
vibration.
like you're kind of
Yeah.
just reflecting it back.
Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
that.
Cool. Oh, well, I learned something new today. Thanks for that question, Richard.
Yeah,
And
thanks,
thank you.
Richard.
And thank you, DuckDuckGo. That is the trusted source that I choose and doesn't spy on me, by the way. Anyways, Richard is just saying, like priests, they wear black to absorb negative. Very cool.
Copy that.
Yeah. Thank you, Richard. Sounds like you're a plethora of information.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, for full disclosure, I probably should have said this at the beginning. I think of myself not as a baby witch because I'm a little farther than that, but maybe I'm like a teenage witch, you know, like as far as my development, because it's a very long path. There's lots to learn. So I absolutely do not have all of the answers.
No, and we're students of the universe. We're always continually learning. If we're not learning, then I'm sorry, we're shrinking, we're dying. That's a slow, painful death as far as I'm concerned. But
agreed.
Yeah. I always ask 2 questions, and these are, like being live isn't off the cuff enough and keeping you on, the edge of your seat. What is she going to ask me?
Oh boy.
First question, how can we as a collective energy help make your dreams come true? What is your Moby Dick?
Oh, I don't know if I understand. So how can the whole universe,
like all of us, us people, the collective energy, the people that are here today, the people that are not here yet but are showing up, your people, our people,
how can they make my specific dreams come true?
Yes.
Oh. That is an interesting question. Wow. That really gets you thinking. I guess be gentle with I always say gentle at first when it could include spirit guides, because they can be a little pushy sometimes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I got bitch slapped. Be gentle with encouraging me to continue on the path of my shadow work. I think just so I never want to become stagnant, and I never want to stop wanting to attempt to reach my highest potential in this lifetime. And so to do that, I know I have to be brave, and I have to look within, and I have to, clean up the basement of my mind and face things that are scary in there. So I would love the gentle encouragement to do that.
Oh, that's lovely. I love that. And we will hold you all in that regard and make sure that there's no bottom for anything. It just keep going up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And my favorite question, what does magic mean to you?
Ooh. What does it mean to me? To me, it's about what I've said a few times here, which is kind of connecting your will, your desire with energy, with intent, with other belief. A belief is a huge part of it. And then focusing that on something. I think that's the magic working. On a broader sense, I think it's, again, this trifecta of bravery, power, and wisdom. I think it's sort of this kind of circle of those 3 things. And I think that's where the magic happens. When you're brave, when you own your power, when you step into wisdom, that's when magic happens, whether it's magic with a K for the occult, or if it's just the regular regular magic of the whole universe, which some say there's no difference, but either one, I think that's sort of the trifecta. That's the sweet spot, those three pieces.
Love it. BPW. I always like to shorten things.
Oh, I
So,
like that.
bravery,
BPW.
power.
BPW.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. That was beautiful. I'm sure you've inspired somebody. If at least one, I'm sure way more. And maybe even someone in the background that doesn't want to share, but that's a whole nother conversation. Richard's just saying he has his little useless knowledge. Not bad in quiz nights. Ah, cool.
Not useless for me.
No, there's no such thing. No such thing.
That's right.
And he's also sharing he believes we all have collective minds. It's just allowing to appreciate others' thoughts and beliefs. When you have a group of people who believe in the same genre, isn't that a collective mind?
Truth.
Yeah. Or groupthink. That seems to be a big word that people are throwing around too, but it depends on the connotation and what's going on. So love and light. Yeah, as they say, just love. Just put love in there and it's good.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, like I said, I've had so much fun getting to know you. You're a beautiful soul. You don't sugarcoat anything, which, I love because life's too short to just, just say what you mean and mean what you say. And that's really who you are. With a soft heart. Like you said, you're an extroverted empath, which I'm sure some people are going to be like, say what? No.
They're rare. I've heard at least. I'm like, where are my people?
So if you are an extroverted empath, you're a double E, get a hold of Fen and you guys connect.
That's right.
Okay?
Please. Oh my gosh, I'd love to talk with you.
There you go. So is there anything else you'd like to share with us? How do people get a hold of you? And anything else? Like here's a place to toot your horn.
Sure. Well, I have Follow the Woo podcast where, like I said before, I follow the woo, the woo woo wherever it takes me. And I really do mean that. Like I follow it wherever it takes me. And sometimes it gets really weird. But I would have it no other way. You can, if you have an amazing woo story or you've had a weird experience, you can always be on the show, or you can check out the show at followthewoo.com. And anywhere you listen to podcasts, it's everywhere. You can also contact me first. A lot of people want to tell me stories, but they want to stay anonymous. I totally respect that. So you can email me at followthewoo@gmail.com. And we'll probably be friends relatively quickly because I love chatting with all my email peoples. And then everything is just Follow the Woo on all of my social media as well. So
there you go, guys. So if you're curious and you want to follow the woo, go for it. And I think of Colette Baron Reed. She says, "Don't poo-poo the woo-woo." So same connotation. Don't do it. Just follow it. When you're curious, when you're curious, just follow the yellow brick road too.
yeah.
Where is that? No. Richard is just saying, I wish I knew this was on earlier, and it's been wonderful to listen to you both. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Richard.
Yeah, and it's on the replay, my dear, so feel free to subscribe if you're on YouTube or even on Facebook or wherever you listen on your favorite podcast as well. But we appreciate your time as well. Thank you so much. And Patty is just going back to the crystal skull. Mitchell Hedges and the crystal skull.
I took a screenshot, Patty.
There you go.
I'm on it.
We're going to go look. We're going to go look. And Marsha is just thanking us and Fen as well. Awesome interview today. You guys are lovely. You're all lovely.
Thank you, Marsha.
Much love to all of you guys as well. And thank you, Fen, for being here. I really, again, appreciate who you are. You are weird, but we love you. I mean, we wouldn't take you any other way. It would be boring. I mean,
thank
come on.
You are also so lovely. And thank you for having me on. Like, I really had a great time. It's fun to do it live, too. It does. It puts a little pep in your step.
It does. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I just have a little bit of housekeeping. As always, I should have updated this, but it's Wednesday tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific. So if you're an empath, whether you're introverted or extroverted or lifted, I just come and join us. It's a safe space on Zoom. It's through meetup.com. You can find the links below as well. My book is out, and I'm really not promoting it very much, and I'm gonna have to get on with it. But it's called Intuition Saved My Life. It is a little bit of a memoir, but it is also soul work at the same time. So grab that on Amazon, and I will be doing like a big launch party giveaway street team. It's coming. So at least you guys can see the book. As well, the November energy update is coming. It's a few days behind, but it's coming, guys. And maybe the picture is a little hint to who the spirit animal totem is for November, because that's all I've been seeing lately is eagles. And so look out for that. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, head on over to 24K Healing, and you will find it there. All right, guys, I love you so much. Stay safe, have fun, be curious, and please remember, healing begins where the ego ends. Take care.